All right, boys and girls, we are doing lesson 18 problem set today, and it's going to look kind of familiar, but we are decomposing once to subtract measurements, including 3-digit minuends, with zeros in the tens or ones place. So very similar to things that we've been doing already, except this time you're going to see that we're going to have to borrow across some zeros. So let's get started. We have 3, 6, 9, 10, 11 problems. So I'm going to set a goal for you guys today to do 5 problems from up here at the top. You can choose which 5 you want to do, and then you have to do one of these problems down here at the bottom. Okay, so 6 problems total out of the 11. If you want to do all of them, then feel free to do them all. Let me know, and I will give you an extra effort dojo stamp for getting all those done. But you only have to do 5 from up here at the top. In this top section, you only have to choose 5 problems, and then 1 from down here at the bottom. You decide which problems you want to do. I'm going to go through all of them. So what I suggest for you is to go ahead and get started on working on those problems, and then you can fast forward, check your answers to see if you got them right, and if you didn't, then you can make any corrections and listen to my explanations. So don't forget that you're going to have to decompose to borrow across a zero. If you want to watch a couple examples and just do the first 5 problems along with me, no sweat. Let's just do that, and then if not, you want to choose another problem, that works too. So let's go ahead and get started. For the first one, we're going to do 60 milliliters minus 24 milliliters. So I'm going to rewrite my problem up and down because it's just so much easier for me to work on it that way, and my standard algorithm tells me I have to line up my place values. So 60, and I'm going to shrink my pen size down a little bit. There we go, 60 milliliters minus 24 milliliters. Okay, and I have to start off there with 0 minus 4. If I have 0 of something, can I take away 4? Nope, so I'm going to have to borrow. So I'm going to go to my next door neighbor and borrow 1 group of 10 from him, because he is in the tens place. So remember, when we decompose that rod that I'm taking from that tens place, it becomes 10 ones. So that's how I end up with that 10 over there. Now I can do 10 minus 4. 10 minus 4 is 6, and 5 minus 2 is 3. Awesome. Okay, let's go to the next one. 360 milliliters minus 24 milliliters. Notice there's no hundreds in the number 24, so I should not have anything under my hundreds. If you need to put a 0 there as a placeholder to help you, definitely do that. Okay, that's a great strategy to use. So, milliliters, again, is my label. 0 minus 4. I'm doing the same thing that I was doing before. I cannot borrow from nothing. I cannot take from nothing. Okay, so I got to go to my neighbor. I take 1 group of 10 from my neighbor. 10 minus 4 is 6. 5 minus 2 is 3. 3 minus 0 is 3. And I kind of forgot this on my other problem, but don't forget to circle your answer there. Okay. Rewrite my problem using the standard algorithm. Now this time I do have hundreds, 224. But you're going to notice that this problem is, again, very, very, very similar. So we started with 60 minus 24. Then we moved to 360 minus 24, which really didn't change much except for just adding a hundreds column. Now I'm just adding a number here that I'm going to subtract from my 3. So I'm going to follow the same procedures that I've been doing. 0 minus 4. Can't do it. So I'm going to borrow. 10 minus 4 is 6. 5 minus 2 is 3. 3 minus 2 is 1. Circle your answer. Next problem. 518 centimeters minus 21 centimeters. So all these problems here in the middle row, they don't have that 0 place value for us to borrow from. So make sure that whenever you're choosing your problems to do, that you choose some from down here in the GHI row as well. Or make sure you've chosen A, B, C, or C problems, because we want to get that practice with borrowing across a 0. So we have 518 centimeters minus 21 centimeters. Lined up our place values, right? So what's the first thing I have to do? I have to subtract my ones column. So I'm going to do 8 minus 1. 8 minus 1 is 7. Next, 1 minus 2. What is 1 minus 2? You can't do it, so you have to go next door. Borrowed one group of 10. Actually, it's one group of tens, not a group of 10, because I'm borrowing from the hundreds place this time. So I'm borrowing that flat. I'm going to change it into rods now. So I have 10 rods that I'm going to put over here with the one I already have. So that's going to give me 11 rods that I have now. So I have those. Now I can do 11 minus 2. 11 minus 2 is 9. 4 minus nothing is 4. So 497 centimeters. 629 centimeters minus 268 centimeters. What's my first step? Alright, 9 minus 8 is 1. 2 minus 6, can't do it. Go to your neighbor, take one group of 10 away from him. So you took that flat, and when you go back to your house, you got to change it into rods. So you have 10 rods, plus your 2 that you already have is 12. 12 minus 6, 6. 5 minus 2, 3. 361 centimeters. Alright, so we rewrote our problem, lined up our place values. Now we're going to subtract our like place values. Where are we going to start? I'm going to start in our ones column. 8 minus 0 is 8. 3 minus 4 is, can't do it, can we? So go to that 9. What's that 9 going to turn into? That's right, the 9's now an 8, which makes the 3 a 13. 13 minus 4 is 9, and then 8 minus 4 is 4. So 498 centimeters. 307 grams minus 130 grams. 7 minus 0 is? 0 minus 3 is? Make sure you didn't say 3. Can't borrow from 0. Or you can't take from 0. So that next door neighbor, 3, you take a flat, you come back home, you have 10 rods now. 10 minus 3 is 7, and 2 minus 1 is 1. Alright, on to our next problem. 307, again, minus 234. Notice how I'm writing my label right when I write my problem. That way I don't have to worry about remembering it. So, what's our first step? 7 minus 4. 7 minus 4 is 3. 0 minus 3 is? Hopefully you didn't say 3. Can't subtract from 0. So go next door to your neighbor. Borrow 1 from your neighbor, which is really a group of 10. 10 minus 3 is 7. 2 minus 2 is 0. Do you have to write a 0? No. Can you? Yes. $807 grams minus 732 grams. 7 minus 2 is? 0 minus 3? Well, we've had lots of practice with this one, so I really hope you didn't say 3. Go next door. Borrow. 10 minus 3 is 7. 7 minus 7 is 0. Alright, so you've now done 5 of those problems. Now you get to choose either J or K. So we have 2 kilometers and 770 meters. Or you could say kilometers if you want. And then we're subtracting 1 kilometer and then 455 meters. So when we've worked on these problems before, we talked about how it could be easier to divide it and do your meters and then your kilometers. But it doesn't matter. You don't have to do that. So we have 0 minus 5 is, can't do it, right? So cross out our 7, it turns into a 6. The 0 turns into a 10. 10 minus 5 is 5. 6 minus 5 is 1. And 7 minus 4 is 3. Now, we're not done yet. We have to do 2 minus 1 over here in our kilometers, which is 1. Okay, so now that you've watched that problem, maybe you're going to choose to do this next one. 3 kilograms, 924 grams, minus 1 kilogram, 893 grams. So don't forget, if nothing changes, we're still going to start all the way over here on the side. 4 minus 3 is 1. 2 minus 9 is, can't do it. Got to borrow from our neighbor. So that 9 turns to an 8 now, and our 2 turns into a 12. I know we've been writing a lot of 10s, but remember, we're taking that 10, and there's already 2 there, so it's now 12. 12 minus 9 is 3. And then we have 8 minus 8. Well, that's nothing, so we don't have to write anything. Lastly, 3 minus 1 is 2. So our answer is 2 kilograms, 31 grams. Let's apply what we were just working on to some word problems. The total weight of 3 books is shown to the right. If 2 books weigh 233 grams, how much does the third book weigh? Use a tape diagram to model the problem. So, our tape diagram is going to have 2 pieces with 2 of the books weighing 233 grams, and the third book we're not sure how much it weighs. We do know that the total is 405 grams. So that's how our tape diagrams work whenever we're doing addition and subtraction problems. You're only going to have 2 pieces, or however many parts that you have. In this instance, we have the 2 books and then the 1 book. And then your total still goes at the bottom. So if I'm missing a part, am I going to add or subtract? Well, I'm starting with my total. I'm not trying to find my total. So I'm going to do subtraction. Let's line up our place values. 5 minus 3 is 2. 0 minus 3 is, can't do it. So the 4 turns into a 3. The 0 turns into a 10. 10 minus 3 is 7. And 3 minus 2 is 1. So 172 grams is the weight of that last book. The chart to the right shows the lengths of 3 movies. The movie Champions is 22 minutes shorter than The Lost Ship. How long is Champions? Well, if I look over here at my graph, or my chart, the Lost Ship is 117 minutes. Champions is 22 minutes shorter. So would that be adding or subtracting? Well, if something is shorter, I have to take it away. So that would be subtracting. So let's line up our place values. I'm going to zoom in and give myself a little bit of more of space to work. So 117 minutes minus 22 minutes. I'm abbreviating minutes, M-I-N. So what do I have to do first? Well, I'm going to need to subtract 7 minus 2, which is 5. 1 minus 2, can't do. Gotta go to my neighbor. And I took all that he had, poor guy. My 1 turns into an 11, because remember, I'm bringing a group of 10 over. Or 10 groups of 10, I should say. 11 minus 2 is 9. So that means that the movie Champions is 95 minutes long. My next question says, how much longer is Magical Forests than Champions? So that word, how much longer, those are some key words for my problems. Those words mean I'm going to subtract. So I need to find how much longer Magical Forests is than Champions. Well, I just found out that Champions is 95 minutes, so I'm going to add that to my chart. This is important because see how I have an A problem and a B problem? Notice that my problems are depending on one another. So if I made a mistake in problem A, I'm going to get problem B wrong too. So let's do our subtraction. Magical Forest is 145 minutes. Champions, we just figured out, was 95 minutes. And if I'm finding out how much longer, that means I'm doing subtraction. 5 minus 5 is 0. 4 minus 9 is, can't do it, bigger bottom, better borrow, 0. 4 turns into a 14. 14 minus 9 is 5. So it is 50 minutes longer. The total length of a rope is 208 centimeters. Scott cuts it into 3 pieces. The first piece is 80 centimeters long. The second piece is 94 centimeters long. How long is the third piece? So in order to figure out the third piece, I need to know how long the other 2 pieces are. Well, I know that, but I know what they are individually. So what do I need to do here? I'm going to have to put the 2 pieces that I know together in order to find that missing piece. So let's do that first. 80 centimeters plus 94 centimeters. 0, now you got to switch your brain. 0 plus 4 is 4. 8 plus 9 is 17. So the 2 pieces, the first piece and the second piece, are 174 centimeters. The whole entire rope is 208. So if the first piece is 80, the second piece is 94, trying to figure out the third piece. I know that these two pieces are 174. How am I going to figure out that missing piece? I'm going to do some subtraction, aren't I? So 208 centimeters minus 174 centimeters. 8 minus 4 is 4. 0 minus 7. Can't do it. Bigger bottom, better borrow. 10 minus 7 is 3. 1 minus 1 is nothing. So that last piece is 34 centimeters long. Holy cow, that was a lot to go through. But you should have only done about half of the problems, so hopefully it didn't take you as long as it took me. But please feel free to go home and practice those extra problems that you didn't do. It never, ever, ever hurts to get some extra practice. Thanks for hanging in there with me for this lesson on decomposing to subtract measurements when we have 3-digit minuends and zeros in the tens or ones place. Go ahead and save this lesson as M2L18, and we'll see you with lesson 19.